All right, you're ready. You're good.
Okay, so I'd like to call this special meeting of the Board of Finance to order. Chris, would you mind reading the roll, please? Taking the roll.
Victor Alvarez, absent. Michael Chen.
Here.
Colin Dobbin.
Mute. He's on mute.
Here, see him.
I see. Yep, thank you.
Bob Hamill's absent. Todd Lavieri.
Here.
Chris Labrise is here. Nick Matrakis.
Here.
There he is. Tom Schulte.
Here.
Jan Schaefer.
Absent.
Maria Weingarten.
Here.
James Yao.
We've got.
Absent.
No.
Carlson.
James is here. He's in, and James is here.
Oh yes, I see him.
Okay.
James is here.
I see him. Yep.
I don't know who iPhone is.
Whose iPhone?
Yeah. Deanna Carlson.
Here.
Okay.
So
They don't have to identify themselves.
So I
you have
think
a quorum. You can go ahead.
Well, I think we need to seat James and Nick for Bob and Victor, right?
Yeah, that's what I had in my notes as well.
Yeah. Okay. So could I have a motion for those?
So
two?
moved.
Tom, second.
Second.
Second. Columns, second. All in favor? Raise your hand so we can get it. Good. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. Look, for the sake of time, I'd suggest this. I sent you all a very brief overview of where we were. What I'd like, I think, Tiger, it would be very helpful for you to explain exactly what the request is for. That was the one thing I did omit. I also forgot to tell everybody that in my meetings with Nick and with the Cinema Labs people and Deanna and so forth, Mike Morrow from the town council was with us along the way because we wanted to make sure he was aware and knew what was going on, so that we could. Obviously, this goes to the town council after we vote on it if we approve it, and he needed to be aware. So I just want you to be aware. He knows what's going on. He's been part of the conversation. So, Tiger, I think you need to take it over from here and then field questions, and hopefully we can get to the opportunity to take a vote within 20 minutes or so.
Okay. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first off, thank you very much for having this special meeting. We appreciate it. I sent you off a memo of where we are project-wise in total, just so you understood exactly where we were, the original budget, the additional fundings, and then the revised budget overall. We can dial down into the $163,695.60 that the town needs, that we need on our side to finish up the contract from basically what we consider to be a leaseholder improvement to assist Cinema Lab with their fit out. So we had so breaking it down, we had some additional plumbing requirements for the concession. This is the downstairs concession, the plating room, and the downstairs bar. The overall work was about $178,000, of which we feel that the town is responsible for $58,878.60. We had some additional design fees. These were associated with the architectural and engineering work for not just the bar, plating room, concession area, but also some additional work, and then some health department code requirements that we feel the town should be responsible for in this regard, given the fact that we have a tenant coming in, but we want to make sure that our building is up to code for every requirement, regardless of who we have as a tenant. That was $78,018. We had a situation where Cinema Lab was responsible for the finishes, the floor finishes on the second floor and the first floor. We made the assumption that they were going to be responsible also for the staircases, the finishes on the staircases to and from, the staircases on either side of the building. And then as it shook out through the project, we learned that they didn't carry that number in their contract and considered that the two staircases were a means of egress and would be the leaseholder's responsibility. That those finishes there, oak finishes for the treads and the risers, top and bottom, were $10,800. And then the original thought was that they were coming in with their AV system was going to be simply a laptop and projection equipment. And then as it panned out, as the specifications rolled forward in about early February, it was determined that they had some additional AV equipment, and in essence, it's almost a glorified server room, if you will, for the video equipment to actually show the movies. And this would be regardless of who we had in the building. But the problem is that it adds in about 3 additional tons of heat load that needs to be cooled, especially in a server room. So we needed to add a ductless AC unit for the AV room, and that came in at $15,999. The total there being $163,695.60. As I mentioned, excuse me, there's other costs associated with the FF&E on CinemaLab's side, and CinemaLab is coming forward with an additional $120,000, $120,652.49, which makes up the delta that is necessary to complete the project.
And we already received that check from
Thank you.
CinemaLab.
That's correct. So I don't know if there's
Maybe just a quick, maybe a 1 minute back. Anything else? Any other context you want to add, Deanna, before we have the team ask questions?
No, I think, there is a huge desire to finish this project. The community wants it done. And I think, we've asked a lot of them over the last couple of years. And I think we just need to get this behind us and move forward. And it's
So questions for Tiger or for Anne? I did mention funding. There are some options for funding. For today, we're going to approve the money coming out of the general fund and how we reimburse ourselves. We can talk about that if we want, but questions on this?
Yeah, I just one quick question to kind of try to put this into some context, but I'm just wondering, do any of these budget or funding changes either require in the future or already have resulted in changes or modifications to any of the other contractual arrangements we have with CinemaLab? In other words, is a rent change? Does anything else change? Or we're just changing the upfront financial obligations to get us to opening and then everything else remains the same? What, you just kind of talk to that?
Yeah, nothing else has changed.
Or remain the same.
Everything else is the same.
It's a good question, but no, everything remains the same.
Okay.
It's an excellent question.
Yeah, I have a question as well. So I understand that this 163, by the way, I agree 100% what Deanna said. We need to get this done. I think the community wants it. It's important that we get this done. We're almost there. So 100% agree with that. But I do have a question just to try to understand this, is that the 163,000, I know, are building related expenses. But the question is, if it was another tenant, would we be putting these expenses in there, like additional plumbing for the concession and plating room and bars? Like, is that necessary, or is it doing it because specifically for this tenant that we're doing this?
Well, the concession and the bar on the first floor, we think that they probably would have been there regardless. The concession certainly would have been there regardless of tenant. And then the bar would likely, given the fact that everyone seems to be going that way in the movie route, whereby you have a bar, you have a wait to serve. That yes, I think it would be regardless of tenant. The layout of the first floor probably would have been very similar.
Is all 163,000 regardless of the tenant?
Bill?
Yeah, no, you would need that regardless. Yeah, you would need all of this work.
Regardless of the tenant. Okay.
2,000.
Yeah, no,
Well,
design fee.
Yeah. So no, I'm just curious if it was regardless of tenant, then why this additional $163,000 now?
Well, every tenant was.
Well, right, each tenant, right. It was just more the question of what, as the design unfolded, the additional scope came into play. So at the time that we had contracted with Alden Bailey, this wasn't part of their scope, but as the rest of the design laid out for the theater, then the additional scope changes came into play. Specifically like the AV unit that came out in February. That was an unforeseen that we had originally anticipated that we wouldn't have to have any additional load there, but it turned out that we did. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got it. Okay, I was just wondering the process. Look, if we need to get it done, we need to get it done, right? Like this is important to the town and overall, you know, we're almost there. So I just want to understand more. Like, is this something that's more specific to this tenant? And if it's reusable, if this tenant doesn't work out, right? Are we going to have to change the locations and all that for a different tenant that says, well, I don't need those in this area, like the plumbing for the concession, the bars on the first floor? That's my only question is, didn't work out. Is there going to have to be remodification of some of this stuff?
No, this is,
I'm sorry, what? Can we keep it all?
no, we keep it, yeah, we keep all this stuff. It'll stay right where it is. It's there for many, many years.
Okay, great.
If we don't need to see these 4 items, maybe we could stop sharing so we can see all of them.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. People want to see it. I don't want to take it off if people need it, but I can't see the participants, and if someone has their hand up, I can't quite tell. So
Hopefully, yeah. I'll bring it back up if someone has a question.
no worries. Hard to run a meeting. Okay.
And just so I can ask Tiger or Bill, is there anything about the aspects that we're putting in here that somehow increase our maintenance obligations in any way?
No, maintenance is fully 100% on them. And even if we were to take it over, these extra items don't really change maintenance at all. It's pretty standard stuff.
I mean, it might simplify it in the sense that it's all new.
Yeah, and it's all under warranty for a X amount of time. So
Okay.
And do you want to take 1 minute on funding? Well, obviously, we're going to use the general fund. We do have the option to bond this, which I want to talk about whether we need the resolution or not. But you had a couple of other suggestions too. What were those?
Well, the only other suggestion would be if you wanted to use contingency. We've never used this level before to transfer it out, but you do the appropriation or you could do the contingency with the option, if you did the resolution, to fill it back with a bond resolution down the road.
We don't need to make that decision right away anyway, right? We guess we could see what the contingency funds look like, I guess.
Well, I think you have to do, we were advised that you had to have the bond resolution now, and then you don't have to use it, but you have to approve it now.
And you have to do it before the expenditures go into place.
Even if we choose not to bond it.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, I guess why not? It's a hedge. We can always bond it, I guess, if we do the resolution. We can just not do it if we chose to go.
Right,
So,
just
I
continue
got
on.
that. Okay. Other questions for Tiger? Yeah, Chris.
So it shows that the total project is $8.57 million. Refresh my memory. What is the town's portion of that 8.57 million, including this 163?
Right, you're talking, it'd be the 8570 minus the 1971. We can do that for you now. I'm sorry I didn't do that mathematics.
No, I see it. So the 1,971,000 chart there on the bottom of your second handout is the town's portion of the entire project.
No, that's the FF&E. That's Cinema Labs portion right there. 197143771. The town itself overall, if we take in the upper, we do all the columns, was 659865695.6. That would be the 8570 minus the 1971.
And where does the state grant come in?
It just means it
just offset that.
So you're saying it's 8 million. The 8.57 million is the total project. The 1,097,000 is Cinema Labs, and the balance was ours? No.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
So 6.5 million was ours?
Of which we're getting.
Yes.
of which we're getting $2 million back. So 4.5 million is ours.
And we got 2 million from the state, thank God. So
Right.
we're in, this cost us $4.5 million?
Yes,
from different funding
from
sources,
different funding sources.
different funding
correct.
sources.
Yeah, I
Right.
know. There's some ARPA money in there and there's the theater fund, but it's our money all nonetheless.
Right, yeah, that included the exterior work as well, Chris, not just interior, so there's
Yeah,
700.
but we use the theater fund for the exterior
That's
work.
correct. 750,000 of the theater fund, that's correct. That was in the original sources and the original budget,
And
700,
then we took 600 to look, if I remember, of ARPA money.
that's correct.
And 2 tranches of bond.
So you can, that's
So
still a
the
lot of
4.5, you're talking about of the 4.5, Chris? 3.2?
I guess so, right? That's what we're talking about. The 4.5,
3.2 was,
the 750 that came out of the theater fund, and we had ARPA money, which was kind of a gift.
Leaves 3.2, right?
So 1.3 million.
3248695.6, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After that. Yeah.
God, that's an expensive project, guys. Yeah, 3,150,000 net to the town.
I have 3,250,000. I have 3,250,000.
250.
But
right.
I have,
250
yeah.
of our own, that came out of our own money.
That we bonded, 20 year.
Did we
We'll bond.
Okay.
Other questions? Nick, a point of view? I know you were part of some of those conversations. I don't know if you had a thought or two to add. I appreciate your help, by the way. Very helpful. Everybody ought to know that you asked some great questions and helped us think through, I think, the planning bit of it and everything else.
Sure, no problem. I mean, from what I could see, the remaining required funds, the analysis, Tiger and them all did was pretty detail oriented, pretty detailed. But the question for me remains also 3 months to go, 163,000 for New Canaan. How confident are we that this is it? I mean, we probably don't know for sure, but what if there's more that has to be spent? Who's on the hook for that? Perhaps as far as it does it depend on some, or is it going to be a certain split that is already determined? What's the criteria here?
You're breaking up a little. If I were to summarize your question, I think it's with 3 months to go. Is this all that? Does this get the job done at the 163? And then if it does not, how would any overruns or additional costs from this point forward be covered? And I guess, Tiger and Deanna, you could, if I got that right, you broke up a little. You might want to go off video. That might help until I have to ask you to vote. I may need your hand, but
okay.
Maybe Tiger and Deanna, your thoughts on that. I think your sense in terms of is this it? And then if you needed another 100, if something else came up, what happens?
Yeah, so every conversation I've had with Cinema Lab is that this is it, that they need to look at this as a gift horse, and there's no more. And that I've said that about as plainly as I can. I said I will not go back again. So
okay, well, it's on videotape now, so it'll be replayed.
Press on the one.
Other questions? Hey, Colm. Yeah, Colm.
Yeah, I don't. This is more of a comment than a question. I think we're this close to the end, so we don't really have a choice. It seems to me we have to. But I think we as a town have to learn from this experience. This started even before I was on the board, but it was an incremental increase. Unknown things happened and all of that. But I think for any significant projects, hopefully this is a learning experience. We do things differently next time around, and not have overruns like this. So I'm not really directing it to everybody. Just I don't think it's blame directed at anybody in particular, but we don't want to see this thing ever happen again.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, if there are no other questions, we can take a vote on the motion. I'm looking around. Does anybody have anything? I don't see everybody. Looks like we're okay. I know we'll potentially lose some people, but I don't want to rush it out if we're not ready. We okay for a vote? Looking for, okay. Okay, I would ask for a vote on the proposal. Chris, do you want to read it? I think we probably ought to read the actual motion.
This is a long motion.
Sorry, wait till you read the bond resolution, which.
Well, I don't even have the text for the bond resolution, so I don't know how we're gonna.
It's on the agenda.
Could read the second, we gotta read item 2 first, right?
Yeah, item 2 has.
I have it in case you don't have it, or are you just saying that?
Oh, I see. Item 2, item 2 is the vote for the appropriation. Item 3 is the resolution to approve the money.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start with 3.
No, I think you start with 2. You have to approve whether we support the funding of the 163,695 and then the how, I think, right?
Right, 2 first.
Yep. So the approval of the request.
All right. Number 2. All right.
So I need a motion to approve the request.
So there's a motion on the floor, which I will read. Approval of a request for a special appropriation in the amount of $163,695.60 and project increase authorization in the amount of $120,652.49 for an increase in the total project of $284,348.09. The funds will be used to complete leasehold and furniture, fixture, and equipment phase of the project. The source of funds is the general fund.
So I think I need a show of hands, and we may have to confirm.
Well, you need somebody to move that, and you need a second.
Yeah, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Tom, in a second, please. Is that James? Or
Column
second it. All in favor. I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. I just want to confirm. All in favor. Okay, so I see Maria, yes. Tom, yes. Chris, yes. Todd, yes. Michael, yes. Column, James, yes. And Nick, where are you?
You just left off. Hold on.
No, he's not back.
Nick, are you do you vote yes or no in support?
Yeah, we can hear you, Nick. Can you say something if you approve or not?
The motion on the table is do you
I approve, so I'm going in and out here.
No worries, no worries. Anyone opposed? No. Okay, so moved. Thank you.
There are no abstentions, no negatives.
No abstentions, yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody voted. Some grudgingly. I think we all do.
We don't think you have to read this whole resolution as long as you say as presented on the agenda.
Yeah, because normally these funding resolutions are quite short.
Yeah.
So it would be like the.
I'll put the whole resolution in the minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to give.
Tucker, how do you want us to say it then? Is it approve the
resolution as presented
in the agenda?
The resolution as presented for the funding? Okay.
Right.
Potential bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a resolution in front of us to approve the town of New Canaan.
It's a declaration of intent.
Yeah, project costs are paid for a temporary advance of available funds.
You don't have to read all that. I think we just have to say it's
in the amount of $163,695.60. Presumably to be paid for by bonds or notes in anticipation of said bonds, to be issued by the town of New Canaan, as per the agenda.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the resolution as stated in the agenda.
I'll move.
Motion.
Column second.
You have Nick.
Nick, okay. All in favor? I can see everybody. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so moved. All right, well, thank you all. I appreciate it. It's a special meeting, so we really can't discuss any other agenda items. But I just want to clarify, Tucker, we're okay, and Ann at this point?
Yeah. Yep, we'll
confirm
take it to the town council next week.
Okay, we'll go to the town council next week. Thank you all for all your help. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Those of you celebrating, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you all.
All right, happy
Thank
Easter.
you.